We just saw Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker.
That's right.
The reviews are saying it's bad.
Right.
It's 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. Is this movie bad? No. It's not as bad as everyone's saying. What I was saying was, if Last Jedi was a much better movie than what it was, and then we got this movie, then this would have been a bad movie.
Facts.
But given what we were given in Last Jedi, and then they cornered JJ, and they said, okay, well, this is your story now. What the hell else was he supposed to do?
Yeah.
So okay, to get more in details, the movie starts off pretty much. I thought the opening crawl was okay. A lot of people.
It wasn't that bad.
And people were talking shit about it. I thought, like, okay, the Emperor's back.
He's back.
The opening crawl is essentially the Emperor's back.
What are you gonna do about that?
It's pretty much. I think they said it was like a year gap in between this and Last Jedi.
Right.
And a year gap. Okay, they started hearing whispers of the Emperor. Okay. Let's get it going. That's the new villain of this movie.
What else are you gonna do? What do you want? Just Kylo Ren?
Yeah,
just
Kylo Ren. So it starts off with Kylo Ren looking for what? That little. What was that? Like a navigation triangle crystal thing?
Easter eggs.
Whatever it is.
You know what I mean? Like little pieces.
They didn't explain that. There could have been more explanation for a lot of things.
And you know what I'm thinking of too? When people say things are jumping from one thing to the next, they definitely didn't really explain that whole scavenger thing well. What is this? They said that they added a lot of.
Honestly, there was parts of the movies where like Poe and Finn are talking about like this is the mission, and C-3PO is like, oh, this is the mission. I'm like, what is the mission?
Yeah.
Like, wait, what is these little things we have to find? Okay, you guys are trying to find the Emperor and the Empire fleet. I don't know.
It comes out of nowhere, and you're just kind of like, all right, it's here. We don't really have time for a backstory because it's like,
nothing could have been explained.
No, it's too much.
Where it should have all been explained was the middle movie. If this was all explained, like all this navigation thing,
right.
if the Last Jedi was a movie talking about the Emperor coming back, then this movie would have been like, they could have just gotten right into it without all these quick little, there's a navigation triangle diamond thing.
Right.
So, and then it starts off with that. I thought the fight scene with Kylo Ren and those guys were cool, where he was like stabbing them, cutting arms off in the beginning. That was pretty cool. There should have been more of that.
You know what? One thing that I don't like, there's a certain style that they're approaching when it comes to, at least while they did this trilogy. One thing I really didn't appreciate was the way the camera moved when it came to the lightsaber battles, all of them in the movie. There was a lot of zooming in, and there was a lot of like turning around.
I need more. We needed more.
I need more.
Mustafar battle.
Focus on the combat.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scenery, and there's a lot of like, look at it with the water, and look at it from like this angle.
It's like, I don't care.
I don't really care about that.
I don't care.
Can we see some actual like instead of like, and then you know what too, and not to sound kind of like not to sound.
It didn't feel smooth.
It wasn't.
That's what it was. All the lightsaber stuff didn't feel like, it felt like the camera kept cutting.
Yes.
And like the editing of it was like, okay.
And then
all right,
another thing too about the lightsaber battles, and I don't know if you noticed this, but I did. Like there's a certain like style when it comes to lightsaber battles, is where like when it comes to Rey, when it comes to not really so much Kylo because it fits him, but if you ever notice when Rey has her lightsaber, she's kind of like swinging it like a baseball bat.
Yeah.
And I didn't really appreciate that. It's a lot like she's winding it.
Right.
Getting ready to swing it literally like a baseball bat, like, and I don't mean to sound like sexist when I say this, but it was a lot like I didn't really like that.
The Knights of Ren show up. Let's talk about the Knights of Ren a little bit. So I'm mad that they didn't have lightsabers.
Why?
They needed lightsabers, and okay, how about this with the Knights of Ren? The whole movie, and I was waiting for this epic battle at the end with the Knights of Ren. The whole movie, it's Kylo with the Knights of Ren, and he's just telling the Knights of Ren, follow her. Go over there. And the Knights of Ren are looking badass, and I'm like, are they about to fight Rey? Every time you think they're about to fight Rey, they don't fight Rey. They just handcuff Chewie, put him in a fucking, put him in a spaceship, fly away, and then they show up again at this town called Rijmi or something like that, where Oscar Isaac's Poe Dameron has like history there. And then they're still just walking around, look for Rey, look for Rey. And I'm like, how about we fight Rey? How about we do an epic lightsaber battle with all these guys, you know?
We've seen her like 5 or 10 times now. Let's actually get at her.
Like, there's a trailer shot where you see the Knights of Ren on the top of this rock. And I was like, yeah, and then there was like a behind-the-scenes shots of J.J. Abrams directing with the Knights of Ren behind it. I'm like, yo, he's gonna give us some action.
Crazy.
Knights of Ren had nothing. They didn't do shit.
Nothing.
They didn't do shit. At the end, so like, we're just gonna jump around. At the end, they come up when Kylo gets redeemed
on some
at the
real
end.
like
Kylo gets
you know what I mean?
Kylo
Like-
gets redeemed in the middle of this movie, and pretty much when he goes to go save Rey, the Knights of Ren surround him like they're about to fight him, and I'm almost like. Part of me's like, are these his friends? Like,
I don't get it.
What is the story behind these guys? And I wanted them to all turn on a lightsaber because he ended up getting a lightsaber through like the more of the Force visions. You got to
Yeah.
see the movie. I can't even explain how he got the lightsaber.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Well,
Spoilers.
this is all spoiler
Yeah,
talk. It's all
spoilers,
spoiler
yeah.
talk. I'll post it tomorrow. And then what's it called? And then he fights them. He did a few Force moves. I noticed when he like pushed a few of them away.
Yeah, but it's the same thing though. You know why I got pissed? I got pissed at these scenes when, especially towards the end, when Kylo Ren is using the Force against the Knights of Ren. Right? It's kind of like, why do they keep zooming in?
Yeah, I want to. Give me a wide
wanna
shot.
see them.
Give me a wide shot of everything happening.
That's what I'm saying.
It's all
And
these close-ups.
Why is it like, okay, they're zooming in, I can see literally Kylo Ren, you know, Adam Driver's like a pretty big dude, pretty husky, his body's big, you know, and so he's taking up like 85-90% of the screen, but he's taking out the Knights of Ren. I want to see the action full head on, and I want to see people really getting, like, going through it.
But then there's another thing I was kind of disappointed with. I was telling Matt is that it wasn't even really a space battle. They were in the sky. I feel like this new trilogy has been scared of space because there's really been no space battle. Really, there's always been kind of like halfway through the sky, halfway like in the space.
Yeah.
This one was kind of that too.
Yeah.
And the space battle was. It was poop too. It was so short.
There was a lot of talking. There was a lot of talking.
A lot of talking. Snap Wexley died, the big guy who's the pilot. I was kind of like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
But they hype it up like all these ships came in for the space battle. All these ships came in. And I was like, my heart was pounding in this moment. I'm like, yes. And then the soundtrack kicks in. Na, 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 na. I was like, yes. And then it cuts back to Rey fighting the Emperor. It's this whole thing. I'm like, okay, cool. And usually in Star Wars movies, they equal it out with space battle. Then the main character fighting the villain. Then probably some other thing, like Finn and the girl doing the satellite.
Right.
It didn't feel awkwardly cut. I mean, it didn't feel properly cut. It felt like it was kind of Rey and the Emperor the whole time, and then the space battle happening, and then all of a sudden, oh, we're all winning now. Like, yeah, we got the satellite down. All those ships, like, I wanted to see more ships. It would have been cool to see like Clone Wars era ships, like a gunship flying through. I don't know. So the Emperor shows up in the first few seconds too. You're like, oh shit, the Emperor, and his eyes are kind of like all white. And I thought it was cool.
Oh, you know what though? Another thing I got.
That's a cool thing. I mean, personally, every Emperor scene when he was on screen,
no, it's sick.
I loved it.
It's sick.
Every Emperor scene was dope. It was so dope. It was cool.
One thing about that whole thing, first of all, this is like a good thing and a bad thing in a sense. Like I said, a lot of points in the movie, there seems, just like when it comes to like music, but specifically talking about the scenes, like things are building up. You're thinking like, whoa. But it's very shallow in a sense. Everything is on like a surface level where, like, for example, when we do see the Emperor, right, and Rey's like approaching him, Rey's about to meet him, she's in like this like gigantic like throne room, right?
And there's like a bunch of
and
other.
there's like 1,000 other like Sith worshippers or something like that.
Sith lords?
I don't know.
I'm like, whoa.
And they're all doing this crazy demonic like. And
you know what? Yeah, like the ending was kind of nut. Like it was nuts. I liked it though.
The ending was spectacular, but on a very surface level. And what I mean by that is, for example, when the Emperor is in the room and Rey's with him, and then as she approaches, the Emperor is like talking about what she's meant to do and her lineage and all this stuff, and then you see like thousands of like Sith lords all
like in a Coliseum, like the Geonosis Coliseum, like like
some real like weird chant type shit, right? And that was crazy, but like I said, it was anticlimactic because it was like, first of all, they didn't explain that.
It was all we got. I think it's stuff like that, like JJ put in.
Right.
It was these things that were cool.
Yeah.
Like the Knights of Ren. It was cool, but I wish we learned more. It was like, I wish there was more to this.
Imagine if somebody gave you, to sum the movie up in regards to characters and scenes, imagine somebody gave you like just a really good looking bag of chips, right? you got a nice bag of chips. Yo, where are these chips from? Dang, these shits look crazy. Like, you feel as though you got like the nicest bag of chips, your favorite flavor, like your favorite, like you got like jalapeno or whatever you like. I'm not saying you like jalapeno mixed with like barbecue sauce, right? Ooh, this thing is it looks kind of good, but then as you see the pack, it's still sealed, right? It's not open, but you realize it's like, doesn't really seem like there's much in there. Then you open the bag, and then you're like, yo, there's like 3 chips in here.
Yeah.
Where's the explanation? Like, I don't get it. So you can look at it like
that's
that
what
movie
it is.
looks really cool, but know that you're not gonna get
no explanation.
You're not gonna get any explanation.
There's so many cool moments,
right?
But you're gonna get teensy little bits of it. Teensy little bits of it.
But because they don't have time.
There's no time.
No.
Because Last Jedi wasted the time with Mark Hamill sucking alien nipples and shit like that.
Why? Honestly.
Like, I feel like so like I said, all the Emperor scenes were cool. When he first showed the way he looks too, I'm glad it kind of made sense.
Right.
His eyes were kind of foggy and white. I kind of wish they explained how he came back more, but there was like some cloning facility he was in.
Yes.
Some deep cloning facility, and there were Snokes.
It was like 4 or 5 Snokes in like 2.
There was like Snokes.
All we get about Snoke is
I made Snoke. He was like, I have been every voice inside your head. I think the idea they were going for was the Emperor's been the puppeteer.
Exactly.
Leading Rey to him.
Right.
So it's like the Snoke was just a clone, and I was voicing him, and I'm like, I liked it. It worked for me. It was cool. Emperor's here. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Cool moments. One of my favorite moments is it keeps sticking in my head. Mark Hamill came back as Luke Skywalker, and like everyone's been saying in every review, this movie's been a big FU to Last Jedi. This scene was complete FU to Last Jedi. Because
directly at Last Jedi.
At Last Jedi, because she shows up to the island again with Kylo Ren's TIE fighter, and she's about to throw the lightsaber away, and then Luke comes out with the ghost hand and catches it. I'm like, I was like, yes, here we go. And then pretty much everything he said, this was like a completely new Luke. I feel like from Last Jedi. Because he was like negative, depressed, emo Luke. Now all of a sudden he's like, the Jedi rock. Like, what are you talking about?
And how do you explain that? You know, how do you? That's why it's like you can't blame. You can't blame.
This is one of those things. The bag of chips. This is cool. But we got 3 chips out of this bag. You know, we got 3 chips. This was like a scene of cool moments. He came out. He grabbed a lightsaber, and then he's pretty much telling Rey like, "Yo, shut your ass up. The Jedi are awesome.
Facts.
You're gonna win. You're gonna win." It's like, yes, this is Luke Skywalker, man. And then she's like, what am I gonna do? I thought this came out of nowhere. I liked it though when he's like, my sister would want you to have this. It cuts to her taking out Leia's lightsaber that they used, and they cut to a flashback of Luke of young Luke and Leia, which was super cool. I thought that was super.
That might have been the coolest scene in the movie, honestly.
Super cool, and then because they're wearing visors, and then they put the visors up in this flashback, and it's fucking young Mark Hamill, and then young Carrie Fisher with lightsabers. I was like, yes.
So apparently Leia has been training this entire time. It's never been like, oh, I don't know if I should be.
And
she's always known how to be a Jedi.
She's pretty much the master of Rey in this movie, and she had a lot of more scenes than I thought she would.
Yeah, she did.
They were able to do a lot with her.
She did.
Well, when Kylo Ren gets healed from Rey and she flies off, he has a vision, a memory. Han Solo's not a Jedi, but we get Han Solo in this movie as a memory from Kylo Ren. And when he pops up, I got goosebumps. I was like, oh, Han Solo.
That was hard.
Then they just had a moment. I think it was Kylo Ren switching back to Ben, where he was like, man, I really fucked up. Like, I really fucked up right now.
I think arguably my favorite part of the movie, as far as like dialogue and just like storytelling in a sense, there was a kind of like a turnaround of like a connection to the old Star Wars in regards to like ending the new Star Wars, which was basically the scene where Rey is she's in the planet Ahch-To, and she is discussing with Luke about how she should be confident enough to take on Lord Sidious and end this war going on forever, right, permanently. And in The Empire Strikes Back, Luke wasn't confident enough to lift the X-Wing from the swamp when he was at Dagobah. But then in this movie, he kind of ties his storyline, the arc of his story, around ending it kind of gracefully, which is, through all this I've been through, I'm going to end my story with finishing what I started. In regards to thinking about the story, I didn't lift the X-Wing when I had the chance because I wasn't trained well enough. I didn't do it. But the least I could do is show that I am powerful. I am confident now to do this.
Yeah.
Instead of doing some crazy.
I didn't think about it that way. Yeah,
instead of doing some crazy force move and trying to end it with a bang, I'm gonna do it gracefully.
It does kind of come full circle for Luke.
By being a ghost. Right, and before the Force Ghosts in Star Wars weren't able to do much, but Luke went so far as being dead and still lifting, a 5-ton X-Wing from out the water while being a Force Ghost, with the same music that was played in Empire Strikes Back.
That was cool.
While he was lifting,
for me, that's like one of the best scenes. Right, one of the best scenes.
The way that connected, I could definitely see myself. There was a lot of scenes in the Rise of Skywalker where scenes like that make me want to watch the movie. But in regards to The Last Jedi, haven't seen it in a long time.
There's nothing I want to go back to The Last Jedi for.
But The Rise of Skywalker,
go back to Last Jedi.
There's a lot of respect in that movie that's worth of watching. It's worthy watching 2-3 months, 2-3 years after it come out. And I think there's given a lot of respect for that. I think it deserves it.
So that's it. This has been a quick little movie talk with Ethan and Matthew Doe. This is the first time I'm trying this. I'm going to post this whenever I can. This is a spoiler review too. I'm going to put that in there. This is all spoilers. So I'm gonna make sure I put that in the beginning. So
stay tuned, man. Star Wars forever, man. It never dies.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
And goodbye.